Hey, what's going on, all you startup stoners? Welcome to the show. Today we have on Andy Freedman. He's a cannabis and wine sommelier. Pretty interesting stuff. Love this episode. Real easy, awesome listen, and I think you're going to want to check out his class as soon as it's available later this summer. I don't want to keep talking anymore. I love you guys. Let's get into the show.
Startup Stoners.
What's up, all you startup stoners? How you doing? It's your boy Cody Chase here. We have another episode for you today. I got my man Bretsky sitting over there. How you doing, brother?
What up, dog? How you been?
Good, man. Another episode coming up for the listeners. How was your weekend?
Weekend was solid. Weekend was very solid, very relaxing. How was yours?
It was not as relaxing. I went to Ultra. I'm sure that'll come up on this show. But wanted to bring on our guest. I want to introduce him. We have Mr. Andrew Freedman. How's it going, brother?
Hey guys, pleasure to be here.
Welcome to Startup Stoners. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So why don't we start this party? We always ask our listeners, as you guys know, Andrew, what makes you a startup stoner, brother?
Well, you know, cannabis has been the biggest influence in my life since it was introduced to me. Over the past decade, I've had so many different experiences with cannabis, starting commercially growing cannabis, working as an extractor, and now rolling into the YouTube series and becoming a personal brand. So really, what makes me a startup stoner is just that cannabis is my inspiration. Every opportunity and idea I have entrepreneurially that involves cannabis, I go after full-heartedly because I know that this is what I'm connected to the most and what I really want to do is my career. So
I got it, man. I love it. I think that's a true definition of a startup stoner. So let's get to the early beginnings of Andrew Freedman and how you got involved in the industry. You said you were an extractor. I mean, how did you get into the game and how it's taken you to where you are today?
Yeah, so really my introduction to cannabis as an opportunity for a business and how it could be more relatable to the average person was I met this double mastectomy patient. She was recovering from breast cancer for her third time and was unfortunately not able to farm her crop anymore. She had a 180 plant medicinal license and asked me and gave me the opportunity to teach me about cannabis. And she used to work in the Auditor Governor General's office, so she was really high up in politics, and really started explaining to me how your first impression as a cannabis consumer really can change the negative stereotype that everybody has. So alongside learning to grow cannabis on a commercial scale, she also really taught me how to present myself as a cannabis consumer. You know, I owe absolutely everything to Nadine. So thank you, Nadine, for getting me started in this industry.
Wow, very cool. So, I mean, you kind of got into this more on the medical side from meeting someone that was going through what Nadine was going through and kind of saying, wow, I mean, there's a big opportunity here to help a lot of people, right? I mean, this was more of a you know, an awareness of how cannabis can help people out there more than just you like smoking weed at home, huh?
Totally. And, you know, I never even started considering the recreational side until legalization started looming in Canada. I was always very strong. I always strongly said that there's probably 98% of the population should consume cannabis completely recreationally, and the other 2% it can truly help. And it's finding those people to help that's important to me. When I moved to Vancouver, I was lucky enough to work in a dispensary and meet a whole bunch of actually sick people that had amazing stories about how much cannabis had helped. One person being the head neurosurgeon for the Surrey General Hospital, who had cured his wife's cancer using cannabis oil and had other doctors laughing at him. And then finally the head heart surgeon from the Vancouver General had heard this story and actually called him to try and help cure his wife's cancer. So,
wow, no kidding.
Yeah, it was.
So, like, tell us about, because a lot of the startup stoners and I guess Bretsky and I, we know kind of the U.S. side of things, and really Bretsky and I know specifically the Colorado side of things. What does the cannabis market kind of look like in Canada for all of our American listeners who don't really know? Are you allowed to walk to a dispensary? I've heard that you can receive cannabis in the mail, or it has to be in the mail. Tell us about like the cannabis environment just in general in Canada. I'm sure that's going to lead us down some routes.
Totally. So when I first started growing medicinal cannabis, it was this system called the MMAR, the Medicinal Marijuana Access Regulation. And basically that system got kiboshed, but it left a whole bunch of people in this weird gray area. So these MMAR licenses didn't have as many restrictions. It's the way that you could fly with like 10 pounds and have these massive 200 plant licenses for one person. So that's kind of why it got kiboshed, because organized crime was operating under it. And then they rolled in this ACMPR license, which is an access to cannabis for medicinal purposes. And when that happened, the MMAR licenses did not lapse. So these people with 200 plant growing licenses allowed to carry 10 pounds on an airplane are still legally allowed to do this until the Canadian government figures out the transition between it, because they just stopped it so quickly. Right now, I formerly was an MMAR caregiver. Unfortunately, my license lapsed right before they decided to get rid of that system, so I'm not sitting in that gray area. I had to reapply as an ACMPR, which makes me strictly a patient. I'm not able to share any medicine with anybody, and the only way that I can pertain my medicine is through a mail order system that has to be delivered through Canada Post, and I have to order everything online, and then my licensed producers, there's just about 100 of them now in Canada, ship it to you in the mail. But it's very interesting when you go to cities like Toronto or Vancouver, there are operating dispensaries that you can walk into, beautiful, well-lit, well-kept storefronts that are operating completely illegally. So
Interesting. So the retail locations in Canada right now, while ever like vast, you said there was about 100 of them?
That's for a licensed producer. In Vancouver,
Okay.
I believe there's over 200 storefront dispensaries.
No kidding, and they are all operating illegally.
All illegally. The city
How
did
come?
give them a license.
Yeah, Vancouver. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So Vancouver did put out this kind of fake business license. They made people apply for, I believe, $20,000 to get a license in the city. But the fact of reality is that it's still federally illegal. And unlike California being its own state, Vancouver being its own city doesn't really stop the Royal Canadian Mounted Police from, operating in their jurisdiction.
So there's very similar similarities between what's going on there. I mean, it's federally illegal, as we know. Things are changing soon this year. But as of now, you have some of these cities that are operating dispensaries when they really shouldn't be. That's cool. I had no idea.
Do the police kind of treat it like the brown bag policy? Do you know what that is? Are you familiar with that?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit there. Could you repeat the question?
Sure. So do the police kind of treat it like a brown bag policy? Do you know what that means?
I don't know.
You know what? Maybe people... So let me explain it, because I'm sure a shit ton of listeners don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. The brown bag policy was introduced, I think, back in Baltimore originally, where, obviously you're not allowed to drink on the street. The cops didn't want to bust you for drinking on the street. They don't give a shit. But, drinking on the street openly, forces their hand. They have to enforce the law, so therefore they had to go and arrest you. What people figured out was that if you were able to put like a bottle of beer or something in a brown paper bag, obviously you're still drinking on the street, but they don't have necessarily, air quotes, probable cause to be able to go and look or give you shit about it. You're kind of doing your diligence to give them the opportunity to look the other way. What's going on in Toronto that's allowing these 200 storefronts to operate?
Well, the thing about cannabis culture in Canada is it's a lot different than the United States. I live in Calgary, Alberta. We're a very conservative place, but every Friday and Saturday night, if you were to go to a popular area, you're going to smell cannabis smoke, and nobody's ever going to bother you. I have never deterred from consuming cannabis in public, and never once have I had any more of a question than, can I have some? The reality of it is, up here, it's decriminalized under a half ounce. It's a petty fine, and is it really worth the paperwork for $100 fine? And the reality is no. Nobody I know has ever been hassled about consuming cannabis in public more than, can you please put it out?
Wow. I mean, I've seen some amazing pictures of some of the facilities up in Canada and the technology that they have compared to we started a grow out in Colorado from the ground up with all the nicest equipment and, 44,000 square foot warehouse. But compared to some of these monstrous facilities in Canada, it doesn't even do justice. So you're telling me that you can go online, go on a website, pick edibles, oil, and flower. I mean, what type of products?
No.
And then, no, just flower
Currently
or what?
only, so you have to be a medicinal marijuana patient, federally licensed medicinal marijuana patient to purchase cannabis legally at all. And then you have to do it online. And the only thing that's able to be sold right now is tinctures, alcohol-based tinctures, or dried organic plant matter.
So it's
oil, no edible.
Got you. And then what? You get it in like regular shipping, like 3 to 5 days. It just comes in the mail direct from the cultivator, or is there distributors?
Exactly.
I mean, how does that work? Okay.
Exactly. 1 to 2 days, seed to sale. So they really, these massive facilities you're talking about are kind of whack because it's such a monopoly on the system right now. People had this opportunity to build these huge systems, and then the only way they're legally allowed to pertain cannabis is straight from that licensed producer. They have the opportunity to have 100,000 square feet of grow and then sell it to you gram by gram. Seems ridiculous to me, but that's the only way it's legal.
Wow.
Here's a question for you. What are the medical requirements? Is it kind of like a California medical where you want a med card so you can go in and get one? Or is it more like a New Jersey, Florida, where you actually have to have a serious disability with a lengthy medical history that you have to prove to the board issuing medical licenses?
That's a tough one. I guess it really depends on the doctor you see. My family doctor was not willing to give me a medicinal marijuana license for years. And then I was referred to a psychiatrist who was willing to write medicinal marijuana prescriptions. I did bring all my previous paperwork, but she really didn't care. It was more like when I got my fake weed card in California, actually. But I sent a friend to a different doctor who vetted him completely and asked him for a lot more. So I guess it's really unstable right now. There are over 100,000 medicinal patients in Canada. We have 35 million people here, but only specific doctors are really willing to write that prescription and put their name on the line while things are kind of in limbo.
Right. So I know the whole world is watching Canada now, about to go rec, and that's going to be a huge moment, for the entire globe. And I didn't really think about the medical benefits it's going to happen there too. Is a lot of these doctors are going to be a lot more lenient now to prescribe it for medical patients as well. So that's going to be great. All right, well, let's get back into kind of your life, Andrew, and after you were working at the cultivation and doing some extract stuff. I mean, you're now known as a weed connoisseur, really. I mean, you are you're now pairing weeds and wine as well. I mean, tell us what you're getting into and what you do now, today.
Yeah, so it all kind of started. I worked in cannabis. I never had any desire to be in wine or alcohol. I was one of those guys that's, I only consume cannabis. I'm really not a big drinker. I don't enjoy the type of person that it turns people into, yada, yada, yada. And then a friend of mine showed me this documentary on Netflix called SOMM, SOMM, and it's detailing the Master Sommelier program. And I saw the way that these gentlemen were talking about cannabis, or talking about wine, and explaining wine and the demographic that they were explaining wine to. And I had an instant connection with the vocabulary and the vernacular they were using, and knew that this was a way to normalize cannabis for a demographic that has negative stigma attached to cannabis. So it was really a week later, I took my first wine class, and a month later, I moved to a vineyard. Coming from an agriculture background, growing cannabis, I really needed to know how wine was produced from the ground up, seed to sale, and moving to the vineyard really helped me with that. So, and then I continued on. I became a Canadian wine scholar, one of few, and got my WSET 3, which is an international accreditation in wine. And now I'm really just pairing cannabis and wine to help normalize cannabis consumption for a demographic that really isn't willing to try cannabis on its own.
I want to talk about that. how the hell do you figure out like what wines work with cannabis? What is your process? What are you thinking about? Explain that. You have to, because that fuck, man. I want to hear about that.
So with my expertise, like pairing food and wine is kind of the same riddle, except with cannabis essential oils in wine, because the amount of terpenes and phenolic acids, really wine and cannabis are identical. So when I'm looking for things that'll work together, I think about like flavors. Citrus and citrus often work well together, or anything that you can really imagine creating and you think would work well together does work. But here's the hardest part, and the biggest problem is creating this system. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't work at all and is really, really gross. Like Pinot Noir and Kush, for example, sucks. And I have no idea why. And anything with citrus notes and any citrus cannabis and anything with petrol in it go so well together. So it's really just this test and trial. Hence why I'm putting it all on YouTube, because with the YouTube channel, I do everything live there. Like if you've watched any of the episodes, I open the wine live on the video, or I pop the cork and I open my cannabis extract for the first time. So, right now I'm still learning. I can't really call myself an expert because I don't know 100%. If I was to put together a menu, I would sit there and take 25 different samples and decide what I like the most. So,
damn, what a tough life.
To give you a non-answer to your question.
That is ridiculous. So, it's amazing to me, because I haven't gotten big into wine. I've been trying to, right? Just to venture into drinking different wines rather than getting away from beer, because, beer just makes me feel so damn full all the time. But
you do drink it?
What? Sorry?
You are a beer drinker?
I guess I was casually. If I went to a bar or restaurant, I'd typically order a beer over wine. And now I'm trying to transition more into wine drinking. And I know, there's such a high level that you can get to of being, specialized in what type of wines. And it's hard to even learn and, just to know what to pick off a menu in my degree. And the fact that you're, I can't imagine the amount of types of wine you have to try and then pair them with cannabis. And then also, do you advise people on how to pair weed, wine, and food, all together?
Yeah, of course. So I do craft beer and cannabis pairings every Monday on YouTube, and then I do cannabis and wine pairings every Thursday. And I like to suggest what people can eat with the cannabis and beverage that I've suggested. Sometimes I get a little panicked at the end because I've been thinking about the booze and the cannabis for so long. I'm 8 minutes in. I'm like, what can you eat? But I do food suggestions. Yes.
When you're doing that, are your recommendations like you've tried them out already and you know that they're fire? Or you're just like opening up weed and you're opening up wine at the same time, smelling it. You're like, ooh, I like that smell, and then you try them, and then you're like, that's good, let's go. Or are you like actually just coming out, you try them all beforehand, and then you go live?
No, I don't try. I try it all on tape, and then my food suggestions at the end are really just from my experience and my expertise of what I know will go well with the wine. The cannabis itself, I haven't actually taken into the food pairing, doing all three together. So you've definitely spurred an idea for me and something I'm going to have to do on a video.
Ooh, nice.
I just think it's so interesting, and what a great life you're living, and just drinking a lot of wine and smoking a lot of weed at the same time. But to make it, where I'm going with this is you're one of these leaders and influencers that's just adding so much sophistication to our industry. I think especially where I'm from the South, from Georgia, and a lot of these conservative states. Especially like your town too. People just see, especially our name, Startup Stoner. People see us and see stoners and see this stigma that weed is for unsophisticated people and people get high and blah, blah, blah. And people like you that come out and are pairing weed, cannabis with wines are just making such a strong statement to say, this really is a sophisticated practice. You've passed all these certifications, and maybe one day you're going to create your own, cannabis connoisseur testing and requirements. Do they have something like that, or you think you're going to be the one to do that?
you know I'm already writing the course. We're about 70 pages into the course now, so you'll see me teaching like Cannabis Education Trust programs this summer, and then the Cannabis Sommelier program is going to be my proprietary program, and you'll see that rolling out this summer as well, which I'm really excited about.
I think the startup stoners are excited about that too. We might want to take that course.
Yeah, I need that course.
I'd love to have you guys.
That's so neat. That's so neat, Andrew. And I just, so where are you going with this? What's your kind of your dream to take this? You really want to be like the front man for being, the cannabis and wine connoisseur together, or being a cannabis connoisseur on one end and a wine connoisseur, and then sometimes both? I mean, what's your main goal is to really be the pair master of both, I'm assuming, yeah?
Kind of. Wine became an obsession more than a passion because of all the cool history that comes with wine and how much learning there really was. But at the end of the day, cannabis is my absolute love, and I really only took these courses so that I could be better at explaining cannabis to everybody. Cannabis is where my life is. It's where my lifeblood is. Wine, at the end of the day, 98% of the wine I drink through the week gets spit back out. As I mentioned at the start of the show, I don't much enjoy being drunk, but consuming cannabis has been part of my daily regimen for the last decade. So what I'd like to see from this is just for people to understand that there is a bigger vocabulary to cannabis, and grading and judging cannabis can reach a higher level like wine does. And I just knew that this was a way to introduce it to people and do something different so that I could build a personal brand that connected to cannabis.
Yeah, I love that, man. So give us and our listeners some examples. If we're home and we have some of the more basic or popular types of cannabis strains around, and some more of the popular types of wine. I know you mentioned some before. Give us some more examples of what we should try out to
Here, I got an even better idea how to orchestrate that. Andy, how about we give you some strains that are easily accessible in places where cannabis is not, and maybe you could tell us some of your favorite wines to go with that.
Nice.
So,
Sounds
I'm
good.
from New York City. Our classic strain up there is NYC Sour Diesel. So, what do you like to pair with sour diesels?
So if you're going with an NYC sour diesel, specifically up in northern New York, there's this region called the Finger Lakes. And Finger Lakes is this amazing emerging wine region that's doing some killer Riesling. So whenever I tell people, if you get any limonene or any of those indicative East Coast sour notes, a dry Riesling is going to be the winner all the time. Riesling has those great citrus, a little bit of petrol, and the minerality that makes all of that stand out. So NYC Sour Diesel and a Finger Lakes Riesling keep New York and New York together.
Wow. Ooh, I like that. Okay. How about a classic sativa, Blue Dream?
Oh, see, Blue Dream is a really interesting one because it has so many haze notes and those blueberry notes. It's really versatile. If you're a red wine drinker, go with a Syrah because it has those gamey, meaty notes, berry, and a little bit of barnyard that are going to go well with the funk that's in the Blue Dream, but the blueberry will elevate it. If you're a white wine drinker, look for like a Gruner Veltliner from Austria. Very high acidity, quite a simple wine, really makes the haze characteristics stand out of the Blue Dream. Or a Gewürztraminer because those rose petal notes elevate the haze characteristics in the Blue Dream as well, and don't kibosh the blue in it.
All right, so last and final one. How about some type of OG or a Kush strain? What do you recommend for those?
Yeah, so this has been kind of my hardest play lately. When I look at an OG Kush, I found two things that work really well. One is a Beaujolais from south of Burgundy in France. It's made of Gamay, one with more carbonic maceration, a weird wine nerdy term, where you let the grapes ferment underneath of the juice and it creates kind of a bubblegummy taste. Or a big Cab Sav. I did a Cabernet Sauvignon above 15% alcohol from Argentina that worked really well with the American oak. The baking spices, nutmeg and vanilla, really helped and intertwined with the gas of the OG Kush. So a great California Cab and OG Kush is a winner.
Jesus, man, you're just dropping bombs on me, dude. I feel like you go on a date or you're like dating a chick and she's going to be just so impressed. And I feel like such a scrub after listening to you. And that's just unbelievable. Like, and what you're doing.
That's why we need his class, Gretzky.
I need some fucking lessons. Holy shit. Well, Andrew, so how can people find you? Give us some plugs and some shout outs to where people can follow you and find you, because I definitely want to write, I want to be a loyal follower as well moving forward, because I just realized how much I need to fucking learn about all this.
I appreciate that. So the best place you can keep up to date with everything is on Instagram at the Cannabis Somm, Cannabis SOMM, all one word. That way you'll be able to keep up to date with, I go live and I do cannabis and wine pairings. I also put reminders up for my YouTube channel and put links for my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is the Cannabis Sommelier. You now should be able to just plug it into Google, plug it into YouTube, and see my face. So those are the best places to find me. Every Monday we do craft beer and cannabis pairings, and every Thursday we do wine and cannabis pairings. And starting in April, every Saturday we're going to be launching cocktailing with cannabis. So I'll be teaching you how to really prep your bar with infusions, how to do different infusions, distillate, cannabis, essential oils, and then creating, classic cocktails with that.
So cool.
Incredible.
So cool, man. Well,
link will be in the footer, guys. So obviously go and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Check Andy out. He's got a whole breadth of knowledge on the subject, and I could totally see this expanding all over the place. So many people are going to become more interested in cannabis. A lot of people already need help like me with just understanding wines, and to do both is just fantastic. To go to a dinner party where people are smoking and drinking, you're just going to have everybody's attention, and you probably already do. So keep up the great work. And we need to ask you our final and last question. We ask all of our guests, as a startup stoner yourself, what's your main piece of advice that you'd give to someone that's, looking to build a business or an organization or some kind of brand, and they might be a little scared to take the leap? What could you tell them on, to keep them moving forward to build upon their dreams?
Yeah, so this kind of stems from my music background as well. And the biggest piece of advice I can give you is that everybody has anxiety. Everybody's scared, and everybody's worried about what people are going to think. The best thing you can do is absolutely not give what people think, and give all the fucks what people think. Remove yourself from worrying about them, but put out the absolute best product that you can. All the tools are inside you already. Tell your self-doubt to shut up and just put your face on YouTube, put your tracks out on SoundCloud, stand on the street corner and yell whatever you want. Just go and do it is the best piece of advice I can give.
I think we have to agree with that. That's what we tell people all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Freedman, thanks for being on the show, brother.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew.
Cheers.
Alrighty, Startup Stoners. What an episode. Andrew Freedman is amazing. Please go check him out. Link is down in the bio. As always, please subscribe to our show. We love you. We're out.
What a killer episode from Andrew Freedman. I mean, he just dropped so much knowledge on us on how to pair weed with wine. Super interesting stuff. This guy's got one hell of a vocabulary. Please follow him. Links in the bio underneath, at Cannabis Sommelier. I just totally blew that word right there. But we'll make sure it's written down for you guys. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to our podcast. Look out for next week's episode. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Now, as a little bonus, Andrew also happens to make beats and do a little rap, so check out his freestyle. Here we go. By the way, the show's over, so enjoy yourselves. Feel free to stop listening anytime.
Don't yell so loud, don't yell so loud, don't yell so loud. What's my name? What's my name? The Cannabis Sommelier. What's my name? What's my name? The Cannabis Sommelier. And I blaze, going high. smoking on a backwood, Russian cream. And I do it for my team, cause I'm always looking out for the cream. Cash rules everything around me, and you know it's money. And I'm so damn funny when I'm rapping on your honey guys. I got like this, and you can't even pop my Chris. I'm good with a Pinot Noir, Givre, Chambertin, and you can't catch it too far. I'm sipping on a Chardonnay with your girl on a porch, and you don't even know what I'm gonna do now. Cause I'm feeling on a titty, feeling good in the city, and you know I'm riding. Cause I'm smoking, I'm flying, and I'm so damn high. And what's my name? What's my name? The Cannabis Sommelier. What's my name? What's my name? The Cannabis Sommelier. You ain't never gonna be high as me, you ain't never gonna ride like me, cause I'm getting back like this, and I'm always smoking on that good shit. You don't know how I roll it, cause I roll it so tight. We smoking gorilla fingers of GG for all night. Yeah, you wanna ride, you wanna get high, you wanna lean with it, but we don't sip lean, cause you only gonna smoke it. Dabbing on another one, cause I'm high as fuck and I ain't done. Yeah, we gon' smoke, smoke, smoke till your eyes are closing. I ain't gon' ride like that, cause I'm always smoking fat. Craft beers and big old sacks, you know how I like that. I'm the Cannabis Sommelier, and every day I blaze. Don't even forget my name, cause it started out as DFA and GZ. D-Fangs and I'm going in hot. You know when I'm never gonna stop. Used to be called Wax Daniels, now I'm always sitting on the top. Don't forget my name when I brought it to your hood, it ain't the same. Bring it back one more time, cause what's my name? What's my name? What's my name? The Cannabis Sommelier. And I blaze, what's my name? What's my name? The Cannabis Sommelier. One more verse with a red cup, left it at home, cause I don't even fuck with that stuff. I'm only rider, sommelier series. Can't even hear me, cause it's clear on the Clico. I don't even need none of that, cause when you enter my apartment, you gotta walk through the weed smoke. Kush cologne, only thing I condone. You know we always smoking on the finest, and we sit whining stuff, but you know grinding stuff. We always still trapping them packs, yeah, you know we riding. Ain't gonna lie, no turkey bag boys, we duffel bags on the side. You crazy if you don't think this started from the streets. Learned everything I know from the corner.